Hey guys, Alicia here from Sew with Alicia, and today I have Maria from Moving with the Military. I am so excited. She did an amazing bathroom makeover for us, and I knew that I had to have her on so that we could talk about quilts and interior design because I may know my quilts, but interior design is not my thing. So, Maria, please say hello and introduce yourself.
Hello. Well, I beg to differ because behind you looks super cute. So I think you've got your design on point.
I just do things I like. I don't, I just throw up the.
I'm gonna get into that because that is one of my philosophies: is do the things you like.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'm Maria Reed. I'm a military spouse, an Army wife. You're Air Force, Army.
Yeah.
And I am the creator of the TV series Moving with the Military, and we honor military families with surprise home makeovers like we did for you. Wow!
It was so fun.
It was great. It's so wonderful to obviously meet you and your family and everyone who came out to work on it. So I'm glad you like it.
We do. We love it. We love it so much.
Awesome.
So I thought we were going to talk about quilts and tips for decorating with quilts. And my first question, which you kind of see, is, are quilts out of style? Are they out of date? What do you think?
I don't think quilts are out of style, honestly. I think especially now with bohemian style and transitional style being super popular, it's very geometric. I think that they work great. There are different styles. And like you said earlier, you do what you like. Mm-hmm. And that is what I always recommend when everyone calls me, asks me a question like, oh, is that in style? Do you like it? If you like it and it makes you happy and it brings you joy, then do it. If your questions or concerns are, is it out of style? Can I update it? Yeah, think about the color choices. Think about the patterns. Quilts are geometric to begin with, but if you think about it being a little more modern, a little more updated, then you can change it. So making your patterns perhaps a little bit larger, that can really, update it, and the color choices. And that depends on kind of, what you got going on in your house, Miss I love a lot of color.
Right. It's true. I love all the colors and I quilt with a lot of colors.
I think I asked you once, what was your favorite color? And you said rainbow.
Rainbow is my favorite color. The people who are on my blog and on my Facebook page, they know that rainbow is my favorite color. So they won't be surprised.
I love that. I love that.
So yeah. So maybe you can just give us we know you can put a quilt on a bed, and and I have displayed a few back here. Maybe you can give us a few ideas of other things to do with a quilt, where you suggest we put them, because those of us who quilt, we don't just make one, we make this many.
This many. We make lots of them.
All the quilts.
all the things. Well, first of all, it's a quilt, not a blanket. So I love a
blanket.
I love your shirt, number one. And obviously a go-to for displaying a quilt is a blanket ladder, but we'll call it a quilt ladder, not a blanket ladder. And that's really a beautiful way to display it. Like you also have behind you on the chair is a lovely way on baskets or in baskets, not really on a basket. Yeah. But one of my favorites is to use it as a tapestry.
Okay.
So making like loops, you can actually sew loops across the top, and you can keep it really rustic if that's the style that you have, using a stick like that you find out in nature. Putting that up on your wall as a tapestry is so beautiful. I've even seen them as room dividers. My sister has a gorgeous, what's the word I'm looking for? Wow.
Screen, maybe?
No, the place that I get, cabin. Thank you. My sister has a cabin in North Carolina, and she has this beautiful giant quilt that kind of is like a room divider, and it is so pretty. You can use quilts as area rugs. A lot of people don't think about it that way, especially if something is not necessarily a high traffic area. It could be used as that. I also think sometimes we make a lot of quilts that are smaller pieces. Yeah. We're left with all these small pieces and we don't necessarily put them together. You can frame them and use them as art. Okay. It's really pretty. And you can also use them as, runners on your table, placemats, as chargers. There's like a million one uses. Turn one into, I recently just saw one as a basket. Oh, so beautiful. I will send you that picture because it's really cool. It's a different way to utilize the pieces that you have and then turn them into baskets. So I'm like, if you love it and you love the color, display them. You've worked really hard.
And you probably spend a lot of money on it. I mean, you spend all this money on the fabric and it's hours and hours and hours of time. And then we tend to like, it's so much work that we fold it up and put it in the closet and we don't look at it anymore. And I just don't, that's not my philosophy. I want to see all my hard work and all my beautiful quilts that I've made. So
exactly. I've got one more for you. And
okay.
I thought it was really cool. Using the quilt fabric as upholstery.
Oh, that would be cool.
So you can reupholster an entire couch or a chair using the quilt. And it kind of has a sort of like a shabby chic French country look if you're using more floral or different type patterns. It's really pretty.
Yeah, you could piece an entire quilt top and then use that as the all pieced together. That would be super cool. I like that idea. You could also use a quilt top as like curtains, right? Like hang them and make them curtains, like pieced curtains. That would be fun.
So instead of the tapestry, just longer and thinner and use it as a curtain. Yes. And yes, girl. Now
maybe don't back it. Maybe don't put the batting because that might be too heavy, right? Like
heavy. Right.
on your curtain rods. But now you're giving me all sorts of ideas. My whole house is gonna be covered in quilts. My family's gonna be like,
new projects.
What's happened? Oh, what's happened? So tell me your thoughts on, like, some people do really large quilts, like that would take up an entire wall. How do you feel about displaying that on the wall, and what would you like pair with it? What do you do if I wanted to display a big massive quilt on the wall?
Well, first of all, I recommend you have the space.
Okay.
Sometimes we tend to not understand scale or composition, and I see that on both sides. A really big giant piece on a wall that's really small, or lots of little pieces on a wall that's really big. So look at what you have in your space. Do you have the space to display something really large? And I think it's almost like, if you've got the space, like a wallpaper. Mm-hmm. So because you're gonna cover an entire area and not just a wall hanging. I am a less is more kind of person. And if you are going to put this big, beautiful piece that's got lots of fabric or lots of patterns, then that's it. That's your focal piece with, a chair, a basket, really simple, but I want the quilt to be what stands out and what you really look at. It's a talking point. Yeah. Number one, you did all that work. So you can talk about the work that you did and why you made those choices. So I'm going to ask you a question, throw it back at you.
Okay.
Why do you pick the fabrics and the patterns that you do pick to make quilts? What inspires you?
I think for me specifically, it's all about aesthetics and color. Like, I like rainbows and bright, happy things. And so I like to pick bright colors, and I don't actually use a ton of pattern because I just like, but I'm a very modern aesthetic, which doesn't have a lot of pattern. And if I do pattern, it's more, black and white or simple, super simple. So that's kind of that's why I pick. And then I also look at the pattern, like of the quilt. So some patterns like have a lot of small pieces pieced together, and that you can't really like accommodate a lot of fabric pattern because it's too much. But some patterns are just like 2 half triangles, you know what I mean? And then you can throw some more, more pattern, like fabric pattern in.
Right.
So that's kind of how, like, I'm like I said, I'm not like professionally trained on any of it. I just do what I like and what I think is pretty. And then another great way for people who are quilting or just starting out quilting and struggle and don't really know their aesthetic is the fabric. The companies, they print collections. So you can buy the set. I like layer cakes. You can buy the set and it's all of the prints in that collection. So they've already decided for you, these go together. And if you like one, you're probably going to like most of them. And these all work together. The patterns work together. They know what they're talking about.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that because especially if you're getting started, the same with design. It's like, I don't know what works in this space, but there are companies that put out collections that all these things, and even when you go into a store and they set it up, it's like all this works together.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to do that, especially when you're just getting started. I agree. I think collections are a great way to go, especially if what you think you want is aqua or, yellow, and then it has all of those patterns in there. Ooh, I like it. I like it.
Yeah. And there's another way, like if you're like, I love flamingos, like you could tend to maybe get a little overboard if you know, pick 20 flamingo prints. So you get the flamingos and they've already decided this black and white stripe goes well. And these, you know, they've already got it all there for you. So,
Right.
you know, you can just, I like that they've already done that. And a layer cake is nice because it's just the cuts, it's 10-inch squares. So you don't have to buy a bunch of yardage. Then you'll have all this extra. And then you can just whip out your quilt. And there's tons of patterns for like layer cakes or jelly rolls, which is the long thin. So that's one of the best ways when you're starting out, for sure.
Absolutely. And there's a great resource that's out there. It's called color.adobe.com.
Okay.
So if you're unsure of what even colors work together, it is a great tool because it explains things like analogous, monochromatic, contrast, like what are these colors and how do they work together? Or that
dictionary.com, just a minute.
But it's a great resource, and we use it a lot in design, especially when I'm talking with clients about, some people are really afraid of color, or they'll say, and this happens all the time, I don't like color, I like black and white and beige. And I'm like, okay, let's get on Pinterest, and I want you to pin, don't think about it, pin all the things that you like. And they end up pinning everything that has color. So I ask, why did you pin that? Why did you pick this? Well, I really like, and I'm like, do you realize it's all color? That sometimes it's just, we're afraid of it.
People who are good at putting it together make it seem so effortless and easy. And I can totally relate to people who are like, I just like black and white because it's scary and you don't want to do the wrong thing. But that's the great thing about quilting is like, there's not really a wrong thing. And like you said, like if you made it with your blood, there's going to be blood, sweat and tears. It happens. If you made it with your blood, sweat, and tears and took all that time and you loved it, you're gonna like it. And you know, we're our own harshest critics. So people are gonna be shocked and amazed. They'll love your quilt regardless of if you still love it at the end. So
right. I love that. That's such a great way to look at it. I think it's such a great way to look at life. So
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that nugget of wisdom.
Yeah. You know me, I'm all about the nuggets. I don't know.
I love you, sister. For real.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have any more questions. I
just love chatting with you.
I know. I love chatting too. I could just chat all day. I think people would love to watch us just chat.
Well, thanks. Appreciate that. If anyone is watching and they have questions, I'd love to, answer them.
Definitely.
And, comment to whatever they may think.
They can find me and you on Facebook. I'm So What Alicia. I check my messages on there. So send me a message. They can find you. You'll be tagged in this video, Moving with the Military. Is that where you want them to send you a message? Or?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram, whatever works. It's all Moving with the Military. And
yeah, Facebook and Instagram, we're there too. So What Alicia and Moving with the Military. You can find both of us. We are happy to talk your ear off and answer all your questions. Even if it's not about quilting, we'll just chat all day. It's fine.
There you go. Thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks so much for being here. And I appreciate, like I said, I just throw stuff up that I like. And it's kind of like, I throw spaghetti at the wall, and if it sticks and things move around, and I just do what feels good. So I appreciate having someone who knows actually what they're talking about. And I
think you have sort of an inner kind of gut feeling about what works right. We may not know why. I am not classically trained as a designer. It's come through over time, over being a military spouse, over traveling and having to move 9 zillion times, and then my career as a filmmaker. So it's been a learned process, but not, I didn't go to college for that. I went to school for business. So there's that.
Well, I was a history major, so that really worked out well for me. So,
as my daughter is taking her AP chemistry test right now.
Go to college and get your degree. It's important.
Yes, it is. It's very important, but it's not. Well, I'm glad I did business, because then I didn't run my film production company into the ground.
There you go. I should probably have done business, but I wasn't planning on all of this. This just kind of happened.
This is magic.
It's magical. It brings me joy, and it's fun. And I also I taught myself to sew, and I taught myself to quilt. So I can totally relate to everyone out there who is not classically trained in whatever their passion is. And that's why we're here, to bounce ideas off each other and figure it out and make it work.
Love it. Do it. Do it. That's what I say to everyone.
Well, I appreciate you being here, and I love talking to you. And
I appreciate you having me.
I hope everybody will give us one of these. Share with your friends. Follow Maria, Moving with the Military, and me. You should be following me already if you're watching this video. Okay. But yeah, and let us know if you have any questions. If there's anything else you'd like for us to talk about, sewing related, design related, we're always happy to accommodate. I always say in my blog posts, I write this for you. It's not, I want to teach them what they want to know, not I already know it. So it's all about everyone else. So yeah.
Thank you again. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Bye.